If you live with cats now or have ever lived with cats, then you know they have a full range of moods, personalities, and sometimes what seems like to us neurotic tendencies. Each cat is a unique individual, and this is what makes them so fascinating and oftentimes frustrating and perplexing for us humans. They are excellent communicators, but we have to take the time to learn how to decipher their feline body language. As you look at these photos, do you see any behavior, body language, or postures that could indicate these cats have emotions? The two cats in the bottom photo were adopted separately at different times, but when introduced, became inseparable. Every photo the owner has sent me is of them touching or intertwined, whether they are sleeping or awake. There is no doubt that they adore each other, and yes, I firmly believe that cats have emotions. In these next few slides, 3 certified animal behaviorists give their opinions about the question, do cats have emotions? Looking at these 2 cats pictured here, I see emotionally expressive body language. What do you see? Warren Eckstein is the most definitive of the 3. For him, there's no doubt that cats have emotions. A cat's environment is so important to their happiness and feeling of safety, it can even rank above people in some situations. And we like to think that we are number 1 to our cats, but if a cat doesn't feel safe, it's nearly impossible for them to be completely happy. Here are some things to seriously take into consideration when assessing whether or not a potential adopter is a good match for a particular cat, or even if you know someone whose cat is really unhappy. These are things to consider. Cats, as well as many other animals, use body language to communicate. And the communication is all about preservation of self or day-to-day survival. In general, cats rely on physical contact as a very last resort in threatening situations. Using their body language to communicate their intentions ideally keeps everyone safe. And in this photo, the cat is just slightly leaning backwards and just very, very slightly. It's hard to even tell. The tail is in kind of it's not completely up, it's not completely down. So there's a little bit of caution, but there's no way this cat would have gotten this close to the dog unless she had a pretty good feeling it was going to go okay. Cats have a lot to work with when they communicate. They have their tails, whiskers, eyes, ears, and body postures. They have the ability to vocalize by hissing, growling, purring, meowing, and my least favorite, spitting. A tail is not only a communication device, but also helps with balance. Cats who are born without tails or suffer injuries to their tails are able to manage just fine, and they learn to compensate. As an extension of the spine, the tail is full of vertebrae that play a part in bowel control too. But today we're talking about the tail as the great communication tool it is. Well, there's not much more to say here except that these 2 cats are lucky to be such great buddies. As they walk away, they intertwine their tails to make sense. As with dogs, a cat with a tucked tail is concerned or fearful. This is a request for us to slow down and give her time to adjust at her own pace. The straight up tail, especially for a kitten, means she's ready to play, to go, to have fun. and the swishing tail predicts that the cat will soon strike out at whoever has their hand close by. This cat is agitated and is clearly letting you know to leave her alone and stop with the petting. Some cats are more prone to this petting-induced aggression than other cats. Kittens are a little harder to read because they are all over the place with their emotions and body language as they learn what it means to be a cat. This Halloween kitty at the bottom is trying to show some ferociousness with the arched back, piloerection, tail up and flattened ears resembling offensive aggression. But she's leaning away from the scary thing, which shows some conflicted emotions. And because she's a kitten, she could have been just in the middle of playing and might have actually scared herself. The cat on the right is trying to look bigger and to ward off someone, and chances are, if she was given a chance, she would just take off. Does your cat meet you at the front door when you get home with a fluffed out, quivering, and straight up tail? This is a huge compliment and means that your cat is really thrilled to see you. A straight up tail with a hook at the end, sometimes referred to as a question mark, means that the cat feels safe and relaxed in the environment. Seeing either of these two tail positions is a really good thing. Embedded much deeper in the skin than the fur, whiskers are surrounded with an abundant supply of blood and nerves. Because they are so sensitive, whiskers can detect even the slightest shift in the direction of the softest of breezes. Their whiskers are about the same length as a cat is wide, and this enables them to determine whether spaces are large enough to enter without getting stuck. Whiskers should never be cut, as this has the potential to completely disorient the cat and take away one of their essential sensory skills. Whiskers can be a little difficult to read depending on the color of the cat's coat. The whiskers can almost appear to be invisible, especially from a distance. This cat's whiskers are spread out into a fan shape, indicating curiosity. He's not only curious, but clearly at ease with the person holding the camera. He wouldn't have gotten this close if he were the least bit worried about the person or the camera. It's important to take all cues a cat is sending into consideration when reading body language. This cat's whiskers are closer to his face, meaning that he's either on high alert, angry, or afraid. The whiskers come in closer to a cat's face to protect them from injury. The ears of this cat aren't really telling me that he's feeling afraid or angry, but attentive. And the pupils aren't dilated. So that's another indication that tells me that the cat is on alert more than angry or afraid. When the whiskers are straight out to the side and together, this indicates that the cat is relaxed, not necessarily sleeping, but resting and completely at ease. The forward position of the whiskers during hunting helps a cat detect exactly where the prey is and how close. Cats and some other animals can detect UV light reflections, much like what guides a bee to the nectar in a flower. This might explain why people sometimes think that their cats are hallucinating when they stare or seem to track something that nobody else can see. A cat's night vision is far superior to ours, as is their peripheral vision. Our peripheral vision is 180 degrees, but a cat's is a 200-degree view. When a cat's pupils are dilated, as they are in these photos, the cat is either in a predatory mode and about to pounce or attack, sick or in pain, or showing arousal from play excitement. If the dilated pupils are due to pain or an illness, then more than likely you will have noticed other changes, such as lethargy, inappetence, diarrhea, etc. Constricted pupils can mean that the cat is very relaxed and calm, or that the cat is in a predatory state. The context of the situation and other body language cues are important to take into consideration. When a cat blinks or squints or closes their eyes in your presence, that's a huge compliment. It means that the cat feels safe with you. As we talked about earlier, a cat has to feel safe in their environment, and that includes people, to be truly happy. If a cat is concerned about his surroundings, he's not going to take the chance that something horrible might happen if he closes his eyes to even blink. The cats in these photos feel quite safe and secure. Knowing a cat well means you know when there are any changes. When you notice a cat's third eyelid, it can mean the cat is super relaxed, or it can also mean that the cat might be sick. So it's really important to know what's normal for each cat. A cat's ears are easy to see and usually pretty easy to read, unless the cat happens to be a Scottish fold like the one in the middle photo. In this case, reading other parts of the cat's body is important, and of course, the better you know the cat, the easier the subtle ear changes of even a Scottish fold will be to read. These photos show opposite ends of a cat's emotional spectrum. In the top photo, the cat is watching with calm interest and focus. The cat in the lower photo is clearly upset and defensive. He is trying to keep his ears safe by keeping them flat against his head. The cat in the top photo is giving a lot of signals: low posture, stalking body, fixed stare, whiskers forward, and ears are flattened to the side. What do these messages tell you that this cat is up to? The ears indicate that he's possibly angry or irritated. Maybe he spotted an intruder in his area that he needs to scare away. The cat below has ears that are up and showing alert behavior, but they are swiveling to pick up all the sounds he can. His body posture shows that he is unsure of the situation and would more than likely take off through the opening behind him if given a chance. Looking at this cat's ears, eyes, and whiskers, what do you think might be going on? And what do you think the cat feels about this? How are his ears positioned? How do the eyes look? The word catatonic comes to my mind, actually. And what are the whiskers doing? The cat's left ear is lowered a bit and sideways, and the right ear is more alert and forward. She's got a few different things that she's attending to or processing internally. She has that fixed stare, and her whiskers are forward, so she's not fully relaxed or terribly happy about whatever is happening. Are you ready to find out what's really going on in this photo? So what's your best guess about what's going on here? What's something you have to do pretty often with your cat that most cats don't like? So how'd you do? Did you guess nail trimming? I have a feeling you did. The person with the camera or the camera itself may be what's disturbing or confusing her the most. It's more than likely the first time she's ever had her nails trimmed while being filmed. Although she may be able to tolerate the nail trim, adding camera equipment, the person behind it, and focusing in on the cat with the camera could be pretty disconcerting for this cat. There are a lot of things that cats do all the time that we just get used to seeing. The white cat on the left is in what I call the uncomfortable cat position. What I have found is that cats assume this position if they are either not feeling 100%, maybe a little worried about another animal or a small child in the home, and want to be able to just jump up if necessary, or if they only plan on being in this spot for a very short time and will be up and moving soon. In general, a cat won't actually fully relax and fall asleep in this position. The cat with the dog is leaving her facial scent or pheromone on the dog. Not so sure the dog is loving this though. The photo on the top right shows how cats will headbutt to get and give attention from people they trust. The kitten in the top left photo is in a playful posture similar to doggy play bow. The kitten may be inviting another kitten or a person to play with her. Paws are used to get attention, to play, to grab prey, to climb, to swipe at an annoying dog, or defend themselves with their claws. Can you think of other things they use their paws and claws for? We understand all of these emotions because we feel them too throughout our entire lives. We don't know if cats experience them the identical way we do, but along the same lines at least. Joy and happiness, fear, anxiety and frustration, anger and sadness sounds pretty comprehensive. But they do have one more emotion. This emotion can save a cat's life, and it's not one that we've talked about yet. Here's a hint. Cats have an internal mechanism in their body that protects them from doing something that could be harmful or even deadly. Can you guess what that is? It's disgust. And you've seen the outward expression of this emotion in cats a million times. As it turns out, cats don't have livers that adequately filter out harmful or lethal toxins. So before a cat takes the potentially deadly item into its mouth, the ick factor, or disgust, kicks in and saves the day. As you look at each cat, their position, eyes, pupils, if the eyes are open, etc., what do you think is going on with each one? I'm going to pause here to give you time to make some observations. As you probably guessed, the cat in the upper right photo is sick with upper respiratory infection. And what may look like squinty eyes is due to the eyes being affected by the virus. And she is in the I don't feel well, uncomfortable cat position. The cat on the left has squinty eyes, ears that are in a neutral position, forward facing, and a relaxed, stretched out body posture. The cat in the lower photo just happens to sleep with his tongue out. Relaxed paws, bodies, squinty, soft eyes. There's no doubt that these cats are all experiencing contentment and happiness. This photo pretty much sums up what you'll see in a cat who is comfortable and relaxed. Although this can all change if the cat gets disturbed. But in the meantime, if you see these signs in a cat, you'll know that he feels safe in his environment. I know I sound like a broken record, but I just wanted to make sure that you got the point I've been trying to make about how important it is for cats to feel safe in their environment. Changes, even a slight switch in your work hours, can upset a cat and cause stress. So imagine how difficult it is for the majority of cats when they are surrendered here or any shelter. No matter how well we care for them, nothing feels safe to them, especially when they first arrive. Looking at these cats, how many different signs do you see indicating that the cats feel safe and are happy and relaxed? The white cat is kneading the covers while looking at the person taking the photo. That direct eye contact and the kneading say to me that this cat is more than likely purring and asking for some attention. The bottom left photo shows a cat who is in somewhat of a doorway, plus there's a cupboard above his head. This cat trusts that no one will bump into him or open the cupboard on his head, or he just doesn't care. I would love to watch as the black and white cat got into and out of that position over the railing. This is head bunting, but it's more commonly referred to as head butting. This friendly behavior is something that I'm sure everyone has seen a cat do at some point. Even in a potentially stressful vet office, the cat about to be weighed has her tail up and is soliciting attention. The cat on the right is demonstrating a calm, very friendly, happy body and tail posture. As inviting as it might look to stick your hand in the middle of all that fur, resist the temptation, unless you know that the cat enjoys belly rubs, or it's a young kitten who you're trying to counter-condition to belly rubs. Don't tempt fate. This calm behavior could change quickly. These cats are obviously not fond of belly rubs. Fear can be a trait that a cat inherits, or because of a lack of early experiences or socialization that now make the world seem terribly scary. The fear could even have a medical component, or the cat's fear could be a combination of any or all of these. Looking at this cat in the photo, what signs of stress do you notice? I'll pause here to give you some time. The cat up top has a fairly similar body stance as the lower cat, but there are some differences. In the top photo, the cat's ears are searching for sound clues and facing different directions. This can indicate ambivalence. Perhaps the cat isn't sure what to do now that there's a person with a camera staring at her. The pupils are dilated and the eyes are staring because she doesn't feel safe enough to blink at this point. Her body is lowered, as is her tail. She's a little worried and would like to safely move on. Some cats need to hide, and that's okay. If hiding makes them feel better, then it's serving a purpose. Forcing them out of their protected space can result in a bite or at least a serious scratch to the person. As the cat becomes more and more comfortable with the environment and the people, sounds, and the space, you should begin to see the cat more often. The sightings may be fleeting, but it's a good sign that the cat's degree of comfort is improving. However, if this is a new behavior for a cat that you know well, there could be something medical going on, and it's best to get the cat into the vet. What are your first impressions of this cat? Is she relaxing and hanging out? Or does the box provide a place of safety so she can hide from someone or something? This is a photo with no story, so there are no right or wrong answers. What I see is a worried cat who is ignoring the person with the camera, hoping they will disappear. She's listening to sounds in the area, hoping no one will bother her, and is ready to move away if anything scary happens. What did you come up with? Even a tiny kitten can be scared and scratch, bite, and hurt you. So be careful and read the body language. The cat on the right is so fearful that her tail is actually between her legs. There are better ways to get a hold of a cat who is this fearful than just reaching out for the cat. Sometimes placing a towel over the cat can help them calm down, or as you'll see in the next few slides, you can get creative. Next few slides, this cat gets progressively more fearful. Your goal is to think of ways to help change how the cat feels and perceives the situation. Notice the ears flattening, eyes fixed on the technician, and the whiskers are closer to the cat's face, indicating fear. His face shows more tension as time progresses. He's going to defend himself if he needs to, but he'd rather have this end peacefully. You can see that his whiskers are closer and maybe pressing up against his face now. What would you do to help this cat feel better? The cat is terrified. You don't want to make this situation worse, so you can try to provide the cat with something or someone that can change his current high fear state. Just something less dangerous. But what? There are some options such as getting a cat carrier, but the cat might not want to go in. What about a bowl of irresistible food in the cat carrier? And what about covering the carrier with a towel to keep all stimulation down? These ideas might work, but the cat might be too afraid to even eat, so the food might not draw him into the carrier. This technician got creative and thought about what it was that she knew the cat liked. She started to engage the cat in play. Now this cat feels differently, and that's what the goal was. This is not going to work with all cats, so having a backup plan is highly recommended. Now we're moving on to anxiety and frustration and the associated displacement behaviors. Just like us, cats can get frustrated and anxious for various reasons. Some cats will start exhibiting displacement behaviors that can help the cat deal with the stress, and these behaviors can become habits long after the original stress has been eliminated. If the displacement behavior is harming the cat, such as pulling patches of fur out, it's important to try to distract the cat whenever he begins to do it. There are many reasons why a cat may show displacement behaviors. The important thing is to recognize these behaviors when you see them and to try and help relieve some of the stress the cat is experiencing. If possible, eliminating the stressor or stressors is the first thing to do. There may be some stressors that we can't change or eliminate, and in that case, start spending more interactive time with your cat or redirect the cat when you see him exhibiting the displacement behaviors. And if social conflict with other cats is the stressor, increase the amount of resources the cats have and see if giving the stressed out cat some time away with you, separated from the other cats, might help. Adding the synthetic pheromone feel-away to the home environment might help as well to reduce stress. Scratching is a very normal, healthy behavior. But the emotion behind the scratching can change it completely. What emotion is driving your cat scratching? Is it the sound of you opening the can of cat food that drives him to his scratching post? That's a happy emotion. But if he's scratching your couch or a chair because you have another cat in the home who's a big bully, then that emotion is more of an anxiety, and it's driving your cat in a completely different way to scratch. Cats are very skilled hunters, and unfortunately, outdoor cats or cats given outdoor access kill between 1.4 billion to as many as 3.7 billion birds in the continental US each year, sometimes just for fun. Meaning that they have a consistent food source, so generally they don't kill the birds to survive. But cats are also prey animals and have to be vigilant and aware of their surroundings when outside. With defensive aggression, cats get into a tucked-in position where they're fairly protected and their claws are all at the ready for defensive action. The cat on the right is either in a predatory state or showing offensive aggression. The photos provide limited understanding of the actual context, unfortunately. This is the classic pose for the offensive cat who is trying to look bigger and be more intimidating. You can tell in the photo that there's a dog in the foreground. You can see his tongue. And that's more than likely who this cat is trying to scare off. The cat on the left is in the typical defensive aggression position. All of his claws can be quickly deployed for protection. More than likely, these two cats are just playing. They don't look very serious. But the position of the white cat again shows a defensive posture. For a cat who has petting-induced aggression, warning signals are obvious, and the cat's behavior can rapidly go from enjoyment to full-on attack. The cat may demonstrate one or more of these warning signs: body tension, swishing, thumping tail, head turn towards your hand, ears may flatten, and sometimes the skin will start to twitch. Okay, so I don't really think that's a cat in this cartoon, but the point is that not all cats want to be stroked and petted all the time. So it's up to you to watch for signals and to stop when the cat says he's had enough. Cats indeed experience grief and sadness, and they can manifest it in various ways. You may notice changes in body language, but what people really take notice of is a change in behavior. You may find that the cat is resting in unusual places or even in a more protected position. Some cats will stop eating, stop grooming, or they start to overgroom to self-soothe. They may hide, be lethargic, stop using the litter box, and can become vocal or super needy. Keep the cat's routine the same and spend time with him. This is not the time to take a vacation. Cats love having multiple resources available to them, and when there are a lot of cats under one roof, this becomes crucial. When it comes to litter boxes, give your cats lots of options. You don't want any cat to think twice about whether or not to use a litter box, so give them the litter box of their dreams. In addition, multiple resting spots, opportunities to be cats, playtime with you, window perches are really important, and scratching posts. And you don't have to spend a lot of money. Never underestimate the power of the cardboard box and the brown paper bag. You might not be able to catify your home quite like this, or you may not even want to, but you can get creative. Give your cats ways to safely climb, perch up high, or to climb into a hiding spot to rest. How elaborate you get is up to you. Catios are a safe way for cats to be outside without getting lost, hit by a car, or injured by another animal. And you can go all out, like the pictures on the left, or you can keep it simple and affordable. Start really watching cats, yours and the ones here, to see how much communicating is going on. You might be surprised to learn how well you know how to read cat. Thanks for joining me on this cat body language adventure. I hope you've learned a lot about how cats communicate. And if you ever have any questions, you'll find me in the behavior department here, or you can always call or email me.